All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and admit all of them over. That way you can swear everybody in.
Sounds good.
Kids and
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes. One.
Yes.
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 Everyone, just wait a second, please. Waiting on one more to join. Bear with me. There's one more judge that I'm still waiting on it to join. I don't know if it's a
Okay.
Zoom issue or.
There's an Elena Richardson.
Yeah, it says joining, but I'm still waiting for it to join.
Oh, okay.
So what we could do is go ahead and swear everybody in. And then once her case comes up, then you can just swear that one in separate.
Okay. Just let me know on that.
I will.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. I have you all in front of the judge here. He's going to go ahead and get everyone sworn in. So anyone that's going to be giving any testimony or speaking about this case, anyone in the background or anything like that, you need to make sure that everyone swears in that's going to be speaking on your case. Judge?
Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Lance Consino. I'm Justice of the Peace here in Precinct 4, and we are here for evictions this morning. Any defendant, plaintiff, or witnesses, in other words, anyone who will be speaking to me needs to be sworn in. If you think you might, go ahead and take the oath with us. If you don't, that's fine. But I just don't want to speak to anyone who hasn't been sworn in. So please raise your right hand. Solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Do.
Yes.
I do.
I do. I do.
Thank you.
All right,
Yes.
what I'm going to do is go ahead and move everyone over, put everyone back in the waiting room except for the case that we're going to start on immediately. So everyone's just going to be in the waiting room. Don't disconnect or anything. You won't be able to get back in. Okay, Judge. The first one we're going to do is Somerset Apartments. It's Micah Ellis. I've got Christy with Somerset. I do not have a defendant for this case.
All right.
Okay, so you have Christy with Somerset. Christy, if you want to go ahead and unmute, and the judge can go ahead and take it from here.
There you go.
Good morning, Christy.
Good morning.
You are seeking to evict Micah Ellis
Yes.
and Shanna M. Melendez
Yes, sir.
and all other occupants at 5301 11th Street, Unit 184.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm showing a monthly rent of $799. Is that correct?
It is. Yes.
All right. And on what grounds are you seeking the eviction this morning?
No rent payment.
All right. I'm showing that a defendant has not appeared this morning. How much in back rent are you seeking?
$2,293. $33.54.
54 cents, okay. And no CDC declaration has been filed.
Yes, there was a CDC declaration filed back in December.
There was one, okay. Did we have a hearing on this?
This, I believe, is the hearing on that.
I was just wondering if we had seen this case before, since one was filed. You had filed this, I mean, are we rehearing this case, or is it the first?
No,
No,
Judge.
sir, this is the first.
Okay, this is the
When
first.
she filed, there was a CDC declaration. So then she filled out a contest form, but then they ended where the JPs have a say-so over the CDC moratorium. And so now she's just here for a regular hearing.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you understand that even though we don't rule on the CDC declaration, that there is potential liability on your behalf before federal authorities. And so just want to make sure that you're aware of that. If
Yes, sir.
you're sure about your case, and then we can proceed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that 2293 looks like that's 3 months. Looks like they've made partial payments since December.
Correct.
Okay, but they're still almost, well, almost 3 months behind. Not quite.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Based on your testimony, then I'm going to go ahead with the eviction, and bond is set at $799. And the eviction is done today, and I wish you the best with that.
Thank you.
Christy, I'll go ahead and remove you from the meeting if there's nothing else this morning.
Excuse me?
Do you have anything else this morning?
No, sir, no, ma'am, that's it.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and remove you from the meeting. You have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay.
All right. The next one that we're gonna have is Lubbock Branchwater Villas. I have Gary Mitchell is representing Lubbock Branchwater Villas. The defendant is a Micajah Martin,
Okay.
but that defendant did not show for court today.
It's not shown. Okay.
Mr. Mitchell, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, perfect. I have you on with the judge, sir. You do not have a defendant showing for this case today.
Yes, Mr. Mitchell, you're seeking to evict Micajah Martin. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And all other occupants at 5401 4th Street, Unit 204. And on what grounds are you seeking the eviction this morning?
As alleged in our petition, Your Honor, we're seeking grounds on a failure to pay rent due. We have deleted the late fees that had accumulated, and we are suing for the amount of $847 for March rent. Just a little background, Your Honor, probably not necessary, but Mr. Martin actually vacated his apartment several months ago and tried to sublet it to someone else against the lease policy. When we found that out, we actually gave him a notice, and all of his things were removed. So we put up a notice of abandonment, and he moved back in very quickly. And this was back in late February, and then hadn't paid any rents, kind of been squatting. His lease actually expires on Saturday, as we chose not to renew it, but we're seeking this order of eviction today to make sure we don't have any holding over issues.
I see. Okay. What is the monthly rent?
The monthly rent is $740, Your Honor.
$740. And you are seeking 800 and how much in back rent?
$847.
$847 in back rent. Okay. And based on your testimony of lease violations and back rent that is due, we will proceed with this eviction. You're not aware of a CDC declaration having been filed in this case?
I'm not aware of any filings on his behalf, Your Honor.
Okay. just a word of caution, and that is that even though Texas courts do not have a say anymore in the concerning the CDC declaration, that it still is in existence. If one is filed, you would have to, could possibly have to take that up with federal authorities.
I understand, Your Honor. I am an attorney licensed in Texas and so familiar with what is taking place.
Excellent, thank you. Then we are proceeding with the eviction today. The judgment is for $847. The bond for appeal is set at $740. And Mr. Martin is evicted as of today.
Your Honor, might I ask the court when the clerk will be, I guess, faxing or emailing copies of the eviction judgment?
Sometime this afternoon or for sure by tomorrow.
That's great. We'd like to post it on his door.
Yes. Always a good idea.
Okay, is there anything further this morning?
I have nothing else. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Oh, I wouldn't know. Okay, Judge, the next one we have is Kay Fowler and Frank Garcia. This is the case where the constable had accidentally posted to the wrong address.
Okay.
And so we're hearing that again. Let me bring both of them over. Okay, Miss Kay Fowler, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Kay Fowler, can you unmute your phone? There you go.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay.
And Teresa with Frank Garcia.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you representing him or are you also a tenant there?
I'm attended there at the 54 13th Street.
she is not a tenant. She is an unauthorized person living there. She is his sister, and he is the only tenant.
Okay, is he available?
I have been living there since my mom passed away. I was the one paying the rent, so he was working.
Ma'am, I don't need you to speak when someone else is speaking to you. You're in court, okay? Is Frank available to speak with? Go ahead and press *6 because I had to mute you. There you go. Okay, is Frank available to speak with?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Judge, how would you like to proceed?
Okay, we'll proceed on this showing that the defendant did not appear.
Okay, does she remain in the meeting or?
Since she is a concerned party, if she's been sworn in, she can remain.
She was sworn in, yes, sir.
Okay. Then Ms. Fowler, on what grounds are you seeking the eviction this morning?
I have given several notices of vacating. They have ignored that. They have not paid any rent for February, March, or April. And they were in January to be out by February 28th. She called crying on March 1st. I gave her 2 more weeks. She, at that point, gave me $300. She was supposed to have given me $400. The other $100 never came. And on the 19th, I came in and signed the papers for the eviction. And it supposedly was already taken care of. However, the constable delivered the notices to the wrong address. So now we're back.
Okay, yes, I'm showing that that was on March 31st. And let's see, we evicted on the 4/6, but it was not proper because of the wrong address. Okay, and the grounds for eviction are non-payment of rent. Are there any other issues?
That is the main issue. Plus, I bought the house in January. I never intended to rent it. I gave plenty of notice for them to get out. And they have ignored the notices, and they've also ignored the phone calls.
And in their, have you seen their rental contract?
They don't have a lease agreement. They are month to month.
They were month to month. Had they had a previous rental agreement?
The previous owner assured me there was never a lease, that it was always a month-to-month basis.
It was always a month-to-month basis, okay. And how long did they live in the premises?
As far as I know, it's several years. I don't know the exact amount of time, but maybe 7 years.
And was the amount of rent that they were paying prior to this $800? Was that?
Yes. Yes.
Did the former owner let you know of any previous money that was owed before January?
He said that he told me that they paid every month. It wasn't always on the first, and it wasn't always $800, but they eventually made up the difference. So
I see. Okay. And since January, since you gave notice, how much have you received in payments?
the $300 that she gave me on, I believe it was March the 13th.
And so how much in back rent would you be seeking then?
Well, there's $2,400 due, less than $300, so that would be $2,100.
So you are seeking, is that what you are seeking then, is $2,100?
I'm really seeking for them to move.
Right, possession and,
Right.
but I need to know a dollar amount there. 2,100, is that?
2,100 would be the dollar amount.
Okay. And Miss, let's see, is it Teresa?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived at this address?
We've been at that address like my mom passed away on July 14th. 2 weeks after she had passed away, my brother had asked me to move in with him to help him out. And I would work and I would give him the money so he could send it to Mr. Travis at that time, sir.
Okay, and that was with the previous landlord.
Yes, sir.
When you received the notice from the new owner, what happened then?
She had went and on a weekend and told me to give a letter to my brother, and like my brother works out of town, I would see him when he would come in, and I gave it to him, but he had stopped contacting me and his father because she had spoken to him about she would help us try to find a place to move out because Mr. Travis had sold him the house. After they had came in the house, that's when we found out that Mr. Travis had sold the house to Miss Fowler.
Okay. And why is it that you had been paying some rent up until or through December? Why is it that January, February, March that you've paid so little?
I had asked Miss Fowler if I could pay the rent till we moved out, and she said no, that she wanted us to move out because she was fixing the house to sell the house. But I offered to pay rent, and she said she didn't want that. She just wanted us to move out because the house was being remodeled to be sold.
And so you just decided to stay without paying rent?
Well, I've been looking, sir, and I've been having the rent money, but she don't want the rent money. She just wants us to move out because she's already to remodel the house to fix it. And I've had stuff in my storage, and I mean, with the COVID and everything, it's really hard for the rentals to let us see the house or go in.
Okay, when if there is no contract with the new owner, there appears to not have been a contract with the previous owner, then everything seems in legal order for a new owner to ask you to move out, I am ruling today that the eviction will proceed. The judgment will be for the $2,100 of unpaid rent. Bond for appeal will be set at $800, and you must vacate the premises.
Okay, sir. When do I have to vacate the premises?
Technically, the date is today. You have a 5-day right to appeal, so you must be out. The appeal would have to be filed before 4:30 on Monday, 4:30 p.m. next Monday. So by next Tuesday, you must be completely out.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. That is the ruling today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we are finished.
Thank you, Judge Casino.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one, I've got a whole lot of defendants today, so I'm just going to do the next case that doesn't have a defendant.
Okay.
It's case number 107. It's David Walker. And the defendant is a Jonathan Edwards. Jonathan Edwards did not appear for court today. Mr. Walker, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. I've got you on with the judge. He's going to go ahead
Okay.
and proceed from here. I'm not showing that your defendant showed up, okay?
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Walker, you are seeking to evict Jonathan Edwards from
Yes, sir.
8506 County Road 6500, Unit 4.
Yes.
Is that a mobile home lot?
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Edwards has chosen not to appear today. On what grounds are you seeking the eviction?
Non-payment rent.
Non-payment of rent. Are you
Mhm.
aware of any CDC declaration having been filed?
What's that?
Are you aware of any CDC declaration having been?
Oh.
filed?
No.
Okay, and just a word of caution, Texas judges no longer deal with the CDC declaration. However, it still is a federal moratorium. And so if there is any potential for that, you would deal with the feds on that.
Okay.
Okay, and I am showing a monthly rent of $575. Is that correct?
Yes, he's 2 months behind.
The monthly rent is $575,
Yes. Yes.
and she is, and so the amount of back rent that you are seeking is $1,150.
Yes.
Okay, and that amount is just rent alone. There are no other fees attached to that.
Correct.
Okay. Then we will proceed with the eviction this morning, and the judgment is for $1,150. The bond is set at $575 for appeal. Signing that today on the 27th of April. And Mr. Edwards is evicted.
Okay. Could I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Okay, I went by the house yesterday. I hadn't noticed him around. The door's unlocked, and a lot of his stuff is gone, but not everything. And the electricity turned off. So I don't know if he's already left or planning to come back. I just wonder, can I go ahead and just move his stuff out of there?
Not until after the appeal period. That is 5 days. So not until
Okay.
after 4:30 on Monday.
Okay, that's fine. Just want to know what the rules were on that, but that'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's all today. Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a nice day. Thank you, Judge.
Bye now.
Okay, Judge, we're gonna go back up to case number 100. Case number 2021-625-100. It's a Terry Chavez, administrator of the estate of, and we do have Ryan Hammett is representing Terry Chavez, but they're both there and they both were sworn in this morning. And then we have Connie Pettit Tilford. She is the defendant today, and she is also here and has been sworn in.
Okay. So Miss Chavez,
If you can both unmute, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry about that, Judge. I thought that we were unmuted.
okay. And Mr. Hammett, you are representing Terry Chavez?
That is correct, Your Honor, in her capacity as the administrator of the Glenda Campbell estate.
I see. Okay. And you are seeking to evict Connie Pettit.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And on what grounds are you seeking the eviction?
Your Honor, what we effectively have here is a squatter situation. Unless the court wants me to, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the gentleman that Ms. Pettit was living with on this property had a life estate in the property, which meant that he got to live there until he passed away, which was in January. At that point, the life estate was extinguished, and Ms. Pettit does not have a lease of any kind. And so, like I said, it is a squatter situation basically, and that is the basis of the eviction.
Okay. What is the monthly rent?
There is no rent, Your Honor. Like I said, the gentleman that Ms. Pettit was living with just had a right to live there by virtue of being a surviving spouse in an estate. And so he never paid any rent. He just had the right to live there until he passed away. And so there has never been any rent, period.
Okay. And who is the owner?
That is the estate of Glenda Campbell, owns the property in fee, 100%.
Okay. And is that in probate currently, or is there?
No, Your Honor, that is settled, and my client, Terry Chavez, is the duly appointed independent administrator of the Glenda Campbell estate. That estate the Glenda Campbell estate was probated, goodness, I'm thinking in 2015, basically, so this is not a new deal.
But an arrangement was made that the individual could stay there, and this is a spouse.
Yes, it is, Judge. And let me go ahead and just give you so that you're kind of asking questions, which is going to lead to the full explanation anyway. But Glenda Campbell, who is the owner of the property, or was the owner, her estate owns it now, passed away back in 2014, I believe. She was married to a gentleman by the name of Leo Tilford. Leo Tilford, subsequent to her purchasing this property. And so when Ms. Campbell passed away as the surviving spouse, he had the right to live in the property, or had a life estate interest in the property. And then he passed away in January of this year. So that is the way that Mr. Tilford obtained a life estate, was on the passing of Ms. Campbell back in 2014. And Ms. Pettit is the roommate, and it's not, I don't know whether she's the common law wife, girlfriend, that really is not in any way relevant, but she was living with Mr. Tilford at the time that he passed away in January. And so when his life estate extinguished on his death in January, then any right for him or anybody else to live in the property also extinguishes. And that is the reason that we're here today. And that's the reason that there's no lease agreement.
I see. Okay. So no monthly rent was being paid for that roughly 6-year period.
That's correct. He just, Mr. Tilford, Leo Tilford, had the right to live there just as a surviving spouse.
I see. Okay.
As set forth, Your Honor, in the probate order, which was done back in 2015.
Okay. Okay. What would you estimate a monthly rent for this to be if this was on the market today?
I would have to probably ask Ms. Chavez, do you have any idea?
I hadn't really investigated. I would assume because it was a sizable home that it may be 500 a month.
I would think that would be on the low end, but certainly could not be argued as unfair, would be $500, Your Honor.
I see. Okay. Then thank you for your testimony. Let me go to Connie Pettit. Ms. Pettit, if you'll unmute, please. You're muted. You're still muted.
Okay, I do. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Okay. And Ms. Pettit, do you have a testimony this morning?
Well, yes, Your Honor, I do. And Ms. Chavez realized that Leo and I actually were common law married, and that there were no family to assist me when all of the stock, the cattle, the horses, animals had to be, sold, and that all of this has taken some time. She also did suggest that we could become a landlord tenant, but it was never followed up. And then she decided one day she wanted to come in to my home, and take inventory of this estate, which was probated some years ago. Then when I told her, well, no, Glenda's stuff, there's nothing here. She got angry. And then when I left, I came back, she had cut the locks off the front gate and locked us out. Now I was, pretty upset about that. I do believe this eviction and total just forgetting about any lease agreement is just, retaliatory for telling her no, that I didn't want her in my house. And I had tried to explain to her, sir, that this has taken a lot of time. My husband has no family here. And this has fallen on me pretty much alone, sir. And it's been very stressful. He hasn't been gone barely 3 months. And it's just, I am doing the best that I can, sir, Your Honor. I mean, and like I said, I believe that the lease, the landlord-tenant arrangement was kind of thrown out when she became angry, and some personal property in dispute has turned up, has disappeared. So that I really believe that she knows that, it still take a little time to take care of everything, that this eviction process began just as, retaliation.
Were you aware of the situation with no rent having been paid all this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Leo and I kept up property taxes, did quite a bit of improvements and, cleanup, as anyone would do when, they have a home to take care of. So, yes, and that was one of the issues I had, was that suddenly the, ability to rent kind of went out the window.
And so you offered to pay a market value of rent for.
Your Honor, right before she began the eviction, I did ask her, had she decided what she would need for the rent? And I was told that no, they hadn't really, decided what would be. And again, like I said, with the animals, I would not have been able to likely afford rent plus all the feed. So we were, in the process of selling the animals as well. So,
Have the animals been sold now?
yes, sir, Your Honor. We had just recently able to find good homes for the last of the cattle.
I see. And okay, how long were you with, what was the name of the, Leo? What was?
Yes, sir. Leo Everett Tilford, approximately 2 years.
Approximately 2 years. Okay, I see. Okay, I'm going to go back to Mr. Hammett and Ms. Chavez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, and so this is an acreage, so there are, how many acres are attached with this?
Little over 5 acres.
Little over
5 acres, Your Honor.
And does it appear that all the cattle have been removed from the acreage now?
Yes, sir.
And you're wanting to proceed with this because no agreement has, there was no agreement after the death situation, and there's no way that you want to continue the relationship then.
I think that that's correct, Judge. Unfortunately, this is just the case sometimes that one person wants to rent it and the landlord does not want to lease it. And Ms. Chavez does not have any desire on behalf of the estate to lease the property at this time. And since there's, I don't think any dispute over one, ownership of the property, and number two, the fact that there is no lease agreement between Ms. Pettit and the estate. My client doesn't want to enter into a lease agreement, and we would like to proceed with this eviction, Your Honor.
Okay. Legally, I see no reason not to proceed with the eviction. The monthly rent amount is $0. The amount of unpaid rent is also $0. And so the judgment will be for possession of the property. I am setting the bond for appeal at $500. And this eviction will proceed as of today, April 27th. Are there any questions?
I don't think so, Judge. I don't know if you saw in my pleadings first that I had pled for attorney's fees in this case, and I don't know if that's something that you're willing to entertain. If so, then I can put on brief testimony regarding that, but certainly that's the court's prerogative.
And if I may, Judge, normally, Mr. Hammett, if you do want to do that, just because my judgments, which I can create when it's perfectly fine, my judgments don't automatically have attorney's fees in them. So if you have a judgment drawn up, you could email that over to me and I can get him to sign it instead of doing my generic one. That way it'll include attorney's fees if he wishes to grant those.
How much did you put in your pleading for attorney's fees, Mr.
Judge, I do not think that there's a spot for the amount. I estimate it to be 3 hours total that we'll have spent on this from start to finish. So I think probably $750 is what I would expect for attorney's fees. Yeah, I think that should do it. And I'll be glad to go ahead and send over a proposed judgment that includes attorney's fees if that is what you and your clerk would like me to do.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hammett, if you could, that'd be great. Do you have
Very
my
good.
email on the Zoom information?
I probably do. If I don't, then I will absolutely call and bother y'all and get it.
Perfect.
Then we will proceed, and I will consider the request for the $750 of attorney's fees. The eviction is final this morning. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay, Judge. Okay, the next one is Wildwood. We have Chris Berger, who's representing Wildwood Lubbock, and we have Tamara White. Tamara White is, oh, well, that's not Chris. That is, I can't remember your name, sir. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Brandon Butler. I'm
Brandon.
the one who filed.
I was going to say Blake, but yep, that was good. All right, so Brandon Butler, him and Chris were both sworn in, so either way, whichever one is testifying today. Tamara White was also sworn in this morning. Tamara, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Judge?
Okay, Mr. Tell me your name again, Mr.
Brandon
Tamara
Butler.
Sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Brandon? Is that? Go ahead. Is it Brandon or?
I go by Zach.
Okay.
Here's Chris right here. He's back.
And
Yeah.
okay, have both of you been sworn in this morning?
Yes, we have.
And tell me your names now.
Chris Berger.
You're Chris Berger. Okay.
Yes.
And will Zach be speaking for you, or will you be?
Yeah, he'll be speaking for me.
Okay. Okay. And Zach, you are seeking to evict Tamar White
Yes, that's correct.
from 1701 North Quaker, Unit 1623C.
Yes.
And on what grounds are you seeking the eviction this morning?
Unpaid rent.
Unpaid rent.
Yes, sir.
And what is the monthly rent?
The monthly rent is $620, and Tamar hasn't paid March or April's rent.
So is that $1,240 in unpaid rent that you were seeking?
Yes, sir.
$1,240 in unpaid rent. Okay. And Mr. Tamar, do you have a defense this morning?
No, sir, I don't. But I would like to speak on my behalf.
Yes, you may speak.
Which I pay April rent. My mama sent me $680. I had talked to, is it Zach? Is that right? I think his name's Zach. Yeah, I had talked to Zach, which I have all the money to pay because my mama sent me, so I have all the money to pay the rent today. The whole was it $1,200 or how much was it?
$1,240.
Yeah, I have all it to pay today. I talked to my mom and stuff. So, but that was on me. I was going through a lot, so that was on me for not paying March rent. I had a lot of stuff going on, but I paid April. But then it was like the late fees came upon, and so. But I have the money today to pay the rent.
Are you prepared to pay the late fees also?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Berger and well, let me just ask, Mr. Berger, would this change anything with this today?
It could potentially. The reason we are tomorrow, I just want to clarify something that we're saying March and April. Is that when you do submit a payment, it goes and satisfies the oldest balance first, and then it starts to compile against the newer outstanding charges. Outside of rent, your total balance is $1,849.97.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday.
Yes, sir. And knowing that there are some more behind the scenes, and if you would like, I can talk frankly about all of this, like the vacant door that was broken into. May's rent is about to post, so we are going to be essentially in the same boat again next month.
Okay, so, that's fine. I'll be able to.
Mr.
Now, all the situations and stuff with the police are done. I'll be able to, even for next month.
Be able to what?
Pay next month's rent as well.
You're saying that you would be able to pay the damages and
yeah, the damages and then next month rent.
Is that acceptable, Mr. Berger, or not?
Sorry, I'm weighing this option out. Just because there's been a lot of behind the scenes payment plans that have fallen through, and this is the reason we're in court now. And we filed for your eviction tomorrow. So
Yeah.
knowing that you have a total outstanding of 1240, when is it that you would be able to pay the other half of 1229.97? And that would be the outstanding balance plus major rent.
This weekend. My mama get paid this weekend. She came out the hospital today. So this weekend. She had it's a minor or mini stroke, whatever, which one? Minor or mini. I think that's the same thing.
Gotcha. Is there any way that we can, I guess, postpone this?
If you want to ask for a continuance, I can grant
Yeah.
a continuance.
Can we ask for a continuance? And then if anything, I will follow up with y'all next Monday. If Tamar has followed through with the payment plans. Because at this juncture, he's saying that he's essentially going to be paying the entire balance of $2,469.97 by this weekend. And if that doesn't happen, we will just join back in and continue to file for his eviction.
That is fine with me. Then I will continue this case until next Tuesday. If you
And
contact us on Monday and
let's just go ahead and continue it for Tuesday at 9 a.m.
yes,
It'll be the same Zoom information for Mr. Tamara White and for Wildwood. We'll just do it that way. And Chris, if the payment does come through, just send me a dismissal prior to Tuesday morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have a question. Chris, you said 2,000, right?
$469.97.
So I have to pay 2,496 by next Tuesday?
Yes, sir. Yeah, because that's what you just told all of us, that you would pay the outstanding pay for the past 2 months, and that you would pay major rent in addition to all outstanding charges by this.
Okay. I have a question. So does the when you came in, the cabinet, would that be on my bill or?
I'm not worried about the cabinet at this point.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it. That's all the questions I have.
okay. And we are continued until next Tuesday.
All right.
That's
Thank you.
May 4th. Thank you both. Thank you all.
May the 4th be with you.
Oh Lord. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. I lost my train of thought on that one. All right.
That's my line. I like that on the 4th.
All right. So I have okay, now this is the case where they did not I couldn't get her to come over. So give me a second. Let me see if I can get her to admit over. I don't know why it won't. So both of these, I can't get the okay, when we did our swearing in earlier this morning, Judge,
Mm-hmm.
And I had the one that couldn't move over, it still isn't moving over.
Is that Miranda?
This is Miranda Valencia, and she does need to be sworn in. She did come in late, but also the plaintiff, Elena Richardson, who is representing Jimmy Vela. I couldn't get her thing to move over earlier.
Huh.
I don't know what happened.
Well, do we need to try to redo that afterwards then? Try to reconnect afterwards?
Even like when I press admit, it does joining and then it won't even bring her over. So I don't know what's. Let's do that. Miranda, I'm going to put you back over in the waiting room, okay? What I'll do is I'll remove her, the Elena Richardson, and I'll unlock the meeting, and that way she'll either call me or she'll come back in.
Okay.
One or the other.
Sounds
You had insurance at the time of the ticket.
Okay, so the next one I have is case number 110.
No one comes in here to.
Huh?
I didn't pay for it, but it's business.
Okay, so I have Demetris Askew, she's with Lubbock Housing Authority, and then she is the plaintiff, and then I have Erica Constancio, and she's
Yes.
the defendant.
Okay, so Miss Askew,
Yes, sir.
you are representing Lubbock Housing,
Yes, sir.
and you are seeking to evict Erica Constancio,
Correct.
2506 Frankfurt, Unit B.
Correct.
Okay, and on what grounds are you seeking the eviction this morning?
Continued lease violations.
Continued lease violations. I'm showing a monthly rent of $67. Is that correct?
I believe it's gone down to 52 since I filed.
And is that because Lubbock Housing Authority makes up the difference?
Correct.
How much is the how much is the actual rent? And
The market value for a 2-bedroom is $645 out here.
$645.
Correct.
You only charge the 67. Is any additional money sent in by the federal government on this? Is this a
The difference between the 67 and the 645 is paid by subsidy. Correct.
And that's is that Section 8 housing then?
Public housing.
Okay. And there are other lease violations, you're saying?
Yes, it's been continuous basically since she moved in. I did email a letter from a neighbor. And over the course of time, I've done the best I can to give her chance after chance. If it's not a dog, it's her brother. At one point, her brother was fighting another tenant, and he literally had to fight his way back into his house. And I talked to her about that, and it was blown off. And the last straw for me was when her boyfriend was attempting to break in her house, and I told him to leave, and he starts, calling me every word but my name and approaches me. And then the next day, he approaches the maintenance bin with the bat. And that's been continued. We have many tenants that see him walking around, and the minute I ask him to leave, he goes back to her house. I don't know their situation right now, but the lease says that both tenants and employees have the right to peaceful enjoyment of the property. We can't do that. Whether it's her family, her guests, it's continual. The cursing, the screaming, the music, the parking wherever they want to park. And it's always, hold on. I've spoken to her mother months ago. She's like, well, let us work on it. That's fine. I've tried. It's not getting better, and no one wants to live around that. And for me and my safety, I'm scared to go to my car sometimes because this guy is out here behind the trash cans. That one person cannot upend the entire property. And again, I sent a letter from a tenant that lives next to her, but this has continued since 2019.
Okay. Is there any back rent that is owed?
There is, but I told her I would let the rent go if she would just give me, possession of the unit. And she refuses to leave. And at one point, her mom and dad said that they were going to move her. And then all of a sudden it was, no, she can stay here.
Are you then asking for a $0 judgment?
No, I mean, I would, the housing authority wants their money, so I can't say no.
How much are you asking for in back rent then?
It would be $238.
200, and that's the $67 times several
That's
months.
January and February, and then March and April are $52 a piece.
I see. Okay. Okay. And Ms. Constancio?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a defense this morning?
I do.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. On November 15th, 2020, my house was broken into. The landlord had, I guess, typed up an eviction note that day, my house was broken into and she had witnessed it. The cops were not called until I arrived home. On her eviction notice, she states that she witnessed a man attempting to break into my unit, and then 30 minutes later, after walking off and coming back, that I let him back into my unit. This is a lie. I was not home. I was not home at that time of the break-in. I did not arrive home till 7 o'clock that evening, which my mother is also a witness due to this. I have to call the cops. I pressed charges against him because my door was kicked in. The screens to my two-front window were off. He had no right to be here. I sent y'all documents of this and the case number on this. So her eviction that she had given me was not personally handed to me, nor was it mailed in my mailbox. I have found her eviction torn up inside my home on the floor. I'm guessing my ex-boyfriend had received it. That's a violation of my rights. That obtained my personal information. I did not feel that was fair to me. Also, I had asked her for this was out of my control. The person who broke into my house, he was not on the lease. He had no right to be here. We were not dating. I'm pregnant. I'm actually due on May 5th. I had told her and explained to her that I had nowhere to go. And that's the reason why I'm still here at the property. I'm unemployed and she is aware of this. I don't understand where the violence against my neighbors comes from, because I have not been physically nor verbally violent with anybody, past or present. And if so, I have yet to receive any documents from her. I have not even talked to her. She avoids talking to me. January 2021, I tried to pay my monthly rent and drop it off at her office. My mother is also a witness to this. She refused to accept my money order for the rent. And since January of 2021, I've been receiving rent violations of non-payment, which is only because she refuses to accept my rent, because she told me that she was taking me to court.
You actually, Ms. Constancio, you actually took a money order?
Yes, sir, I have it.
Ms.
I
Askew?
took it, and she refused to accept it.
Ms. Askew, may I have your testimony on that?
Yes, she did bring it in January. Her 30-day notice was given in November. Her 30 days was up in December. So at that point, she was supposed to be gone. To continue to take her rent is me letting her believe that we still wanted her to stay.
I see.
In the unit.
And
so it was to keep her money so she could go and help her find somewhere else to live.
Ms. Askew, the 30-day notice was given on lease violations other than rent then?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Then based on the testimony, I'm going to proceed with the eviction, as plenty of notice was given concerning the lease violations, and bond is set at $67. That's 1 month's rent. 1 month's rent is what we had listed here. And
Yes.
The judgment is for $238 plus the court costs. I'm signing that today, April 27th, 2021. And the eviction is final today.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove both from the meeting. Okay, Judge, I've got Elena Richardson and Miranda Valencia. They both need to be sworn in.
Okay.
This is case number 106. So Elena Richardson is actually representing Jimmy Vela.
Okay. Okay, Miranda, if you'll unmute, please.
So sorry.
Okay, no problem. And let's see, what was the case number on this again, Savannah? Is that 106? Okay. 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 Miranda, let's see, no, Elena? Elena, will you unmute, please?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Elena, you are representing Jimmy Vella?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Vella is seeking to evict Miranda Valencia and Danny Valencia from 5613 13th Street, Unit A.
Yes, sir.
And on what grounds is Mr. Vella seeking this eviction?
Property damage
Property damage. Okay.
is the main reason.
Okay. And what is the property damage that is alleged?
There's several of them. I think the biggest one that was kind of Jimmy's last straw was when Danny broke into a storage building on the property where like there's extra tile, touch-up paint, all of those type things are stored. And he poured the paint on himself outside and chased the neighbors. And got paint all over the driveway and the outside of the building of the other unit. It's a duplex.
I see. That was Mr. Valencia, Danny Valencia? That did
Yes,
that?
sir.
I'm showing a monthly rent of $800. Is there any back rent that you are seeking?
No, sir. We've
So-
just had a bunch of police reports and property damage since they've moved in, and it's just been a headache.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, Ms. Valencia, you may speak now.
From the beginning of the lease, I have been trying to get Danny out of the residence. I asked Elena, I asked Jimmy repeatedly times. I have messages that I asked them to remove him from the lease. They would not help me. So I did what I knew what was best to do. I called the police and I will call them as many times as it takes to get him out of my house. And I did that. And whatever property damage that he spilled, the paint, okay, it's paint. It's rinsable off. It comes off with water and soap. You know, it comes off. Like there's nothing that has been done to the house. I told Elena she feel free to go inside and look. There may be a little bit paint that you have to paint. That's nothing. I paid my rent and forward. I paid 2 months in advance. I also let them know that I had another rent payment and a money order ready for them. I asked them repeatedly to fix the dishwasher. They would not fix the dishwasher. I never got a 3-day notice. And the neighbors across the street has camera footage. I never got that. And I asked them to replay back that.
How did you know about the hearing this morning if you never got a notice?
I never got the notice. When me and my mom got to the house, there was a piece of paper on the outside of the garage and it was just taped there. I didn't think it had anything to do with me because it wasn't on my door. It blew away. I have nothing to do about that.
Okay, and then you received notice from the constable?
I did not. I got it in the mail.
Received notice in the mail. Okay.
Yes.
And
Your Honor, I also asked them before I even knew about this notice if they would please cancel the lease. I was trying to move to Corpus to get a better life for me. I asked them if they would please, cancel the lease or whatever. I wanted to move out. And they agreed upon that at the beginning of the lease, if Danny moved out with me. I could not get him out of the house, so I called the police and he was removed from the residence. So then I have nothing here for me. There's no job, there's no work. So I wanted to move to Corpus. I asked Elena if I could please move out and if she could please give me my deposit back and the April month that I had paid for. And this was at the beginning of the April. She told me that I was, don't act dumb, and was very rude to me. I never was trying to be rude to her. I just wanted to move out. I just want to leave. You know, I understand that we've already started a bad residence there. And so I was trying to fix the problem by getting him removed. and then it was just like, I was just dealing problems with them. They were going to the neighbors and talking mess about me. The neighbors came to me and told me that everything that they had told them, they slandered my name. I don't understand why they did this to me. I don't understand. I got him removed from the home so that way I can provide me and my child a better home. And they want to evict me whenever I had money to pay for them for the next month's rent. I have everything. I was gonna clean up the paint, I mean, I didn't even know he did that. His actions are not I should not be accused or evicted for his actions.
Mr. Valencia was your husband?
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Miss Valencia, was Danny Valencia your husband?
Yes, and he has been removed from the home. He is trespassed. We are not together anymore.
Is
You know,
are you in divorce proceedings? Is anything proceeding in that direction?
I actually was in the process of pressing charges on him because he had hit me previously. And so we were in that process. But with everything going on, I mean, why do I want to do anything? He's already removed from the home. Why? I don't need to deal with anything more. I'm not having problems with him anymore.
Has he been back? When was he removed and has he been back since?
No, I actually do not live in the residence anymore. As soon as Elena told me that, I was already trying to pack everything. As a matter of fact, I have everything already moved outside of the home. I only have my mattress inside there. The electricity's been off for the whole entire month. The atmos has been turned off. I turned everything off whenever I found out they were trying to evict me because it's not right.
So you're not living there at all?
No, I have not been living in the home at all.
Since when?
Just 1 second.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
on the Danny situation
Yes.
with the neighbors, she ran to the neighbors multiple times. And the neighbors
only ran
actually
one time.
contacted us
One
because
time.
one, everything going on, but two, he also pulled a gun on another tenant that I had going to look at the other duplex. And threatened some of the neighbors. So yes, some of the neighbors have called with concerns, but it's been because of things going on in their residence.
Because of Danny.
But honey, y'all both moved in together. That was y'all's
Okay,
apartment.
but I asked you
Right now, you're not going to
Not to speak to each other.
This is not here for y'all to argue. You are in court. You need to maintain your manners and your respectfulness for the judge. Do not do that again, or I will cancel this meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Remember that you are not to speak to each other. It's not acceptable. You will speak to me only. You will
Yes, sir.
allow, if I am talking to one or the other of you, I am speaking to that person and listening to what they're saying, and then I will go back to the other individual. Is that understood?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Ms. Richardson, proceed with what you were testifying.
I can't just remove him from the lease. From my understanding of what I can do with the Family Violence Act was had she pressed charges with that Family Violence Act, I could have removed him from the lease. But everything that had been explained to us and by our attorney was that I can't just remove him from the lease because she doesn't want him there anymore. I have to have some type of documentation to cover my butt, or he can get me for wrongful eviction. And that was explained multiple times that I can't just take him off the lease because y'all are fighting. I have to have something supporting my decision to do that. And if you'll get me that, I have no problem removing him. I just can't do it on my own.
Okay, and then Ms. Valencia,
Yes, sir.
did you hear what Ms. Richardson said?
Yes.
You said you'd filed charges. Have you,
Yes, I did.
is anything proceeding with that?
The detective on the case is Detective Polk. And I've just been waiting. The victim's assistants, that I guess that call you, that if you've been through something, they called me. I haven't heard anything from Detective Polk. He told me to email him my statement, and that was it afterwards.
Okay.
Also, I would like to also notate that Danny doesn't even own a gun. we don't own a gun. We have never owned a gun. He's got a play toy. It's a BB gun. It was nothing that was harmless. And if, again, whatever he has done, I'm sorry, but it does not to pertain to me. I'm trying to get him removed from the home.
Do you
I
understand what-
figured the public nuisance would be
Ma'am,
a reason.
ma'am, listen to me for a moment. Do you understand what Ms. Richardson said? She said that if you can provide documentation, that she might consider changing the lease.
Yes, sir. And I figured that the public nuisance and the domestic violence call that was called previously before asking him to be removed from the lease would be enough. Since public nuisance to them
It's not legally enough, ma'am. Just to be straight with you and cut to the chase here.
yes, sir.
Richardson, what is the situation? If Miranda, if Danny was removed from the lease, would you proceed with this? Would you proceed to evict Miranda?
Well, my understanding is she's wanting to move to Corpus. She was wanting to move to Corpus 2 weeks ago, but she wanted me to refund her entire deposit. From the last time we were in the unit, there was a broken countertop, there was a broken back door, and then the paint that Danny destroyed. I have not been in that unit for a month. I have no problem with her leaving, with her going to Corpus, but as far as refunding her deposit, I cannot do that until I have seen what the damage inside is.
Your Honor.
Yes.
And that's what.
Whenever I first moved in, Jimmy had said something about the door being broken, but the door has never been broken. Whenever he asked us to repaint that, we had repainted it. We had gotten locked out, and so that's why the door was like that. It was not the door. It was just the trim next to the door. We actually recaulked that and we repainted that as well. And there's nothing else that's wrong with the house besides the paint damage that's outside. And I would be happy if y'all took out anything y'all need out of my deposit to clean up the paint. That I'm happy with that. I just want to leave. I'm unhappy with the what I'm getting out of them as being a landlord. I just would prefer to go somewhere else.
Okay, that's fine. Then you are out of the premises now.
I am. I just have my bed to get out, and I'd be happy to go get that right now and leave.
Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to proceed with this, and the eviction is final today. The judgment is for $0, but we're on the court costs, $223 worth of court costs. Bond for appeal is set at $800, and the eviction is signed today, April 27th. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're.
Nope, she can't do that. She waited till the plaintiff was off of the thing.
Yep.
Thought I was gonna have to jump through that screen for a second, Judge.
Yeah, I know.
You're getting disrespectful on that one. All right.
You were.
Well, we're done.
Okay, good.